Here's the story on how I decided to leave the beauty industry a year ago. But TikTok and the makeup gods had a whole different plan for me. Last night I realized that today was gonna be December 5th.
Yep.
Last year on December 5th, I woke up and I lost all hearing in my left ear. It was a Monday, it was cold. We went to see our favorite Pilates instructor. And I remember being on my side and literally not being able to hear a single thing she said to me and just being so confused, thinking I had a cold. So I go home, still feels really weird. I tell Christina, and Christina, of course, is like, you know, you need to go to urgent care. Like, you have to go now. And I was very nonchalant about the whole thing. I end up in urgent care. I then end up in an emergency room. I then end up, after about a week, in 5 different ENT offices. This is New York City. It took 5 different ENT offices to give me an actual diagnosis, which basically is one of the scariest diagnoses I've ever received personally, in that they don't necessarily know what causes this. And they also don't know if you're gonna regain hearing. So they basically explain to you that you get to roll the dice and you have 3 essentially plays in this game. Number 1 is steroids immediately, oral steroids. Number 2, these intratympanic ear shots. So this giant needle going into your ear that could actually rupture your ear and leave you with permanent hearing loss forever. Number 3, hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatments. Wildly expensive, extremely time consuming. You need to go for like 30 consecutive sessions. That's if you can find a place that may be covered by your insurance. And ultimately, you still have a 1/3 chance of losing all your hearing, 1/3 chance of regaining some, and 1/3 chance of regaining all. But the clock is ticking the second you lose your hearing. The worst part is that was December 5th. 2 days later, after months of conversations of going full-time with my key client, I dropped a bunch of other of my clients over a period of time knowing I was going to be entering this full-time position, made a cardinal mistake where I just trusted something to be. And instead of even going full-time in January, it became the end of a contract of 5 years. So jobless, utterly just devastated with what's going on with my ear, wildly depressed, and totally going through rock bottom.
You getting emotional? Aww.
No, because I'm remembering what it felt like to be terrified. And I just felt so out of control. And it was Christmas, and I just remember being bombarded by all the holiday promotions and thinking this was my sign to leave the beauty industry. But it's like any relationship that you've been in, whether it's toxic or the most healthy one in the world, you know, how do you leave something you love so much? What do you do? How do you even begin to think about moving forward? I couldn't even decorate the tree. This is 22 days before we went viral on the internet. And those 22 days were some of the worst emotional, grueling days of my life because I had no idea how I was going to earn a living. I had no idea if I was ever going to regain my hearing, and I had no idea if this was a signal from my body saying something way bigger is coming. You better sit down and take care of yourself. At that moment, I have never been as like deeply depressed in the sense of just being so lost. And I remember asking Christina to come pick me up. We were going to be going to Jersey to visit my dad. And I said, you know, priorities. I really want to go try the new makeup by Mario Foundation. Do you think we could stop at Sephora? I have to replenish my skin enhancer anyway. Queen of justifications. She agreed to go into Sephora that day, and she was in, I think, such a relief because I was finally, for the first time in weeks, smiling, and
we were goofing off.
We were trying. We were trying on foundation, people, and I was happy.
Yeah. And I asked you questions, and we filmed it, and then I posted it without you knowing.
And then you posted it without me knowing, and it's crazy.
And here we are.
And here we are.
555,000 followers later. You've been talented, baby. The world didn't know who you were. I told you for a long time.
Yeah, and I really, the message today isn't about sadness. There may be something out there that you can't see right now. It's okay to go through these struggles. It's okay to be in pain. It's okay to show your vulnerability. It's okay to cry in front of almost 1 million people. It's okay to be authentically you and honest in what you're going through and what you've gone through. And it's also okay to have a really bad day at times. And those 22 days from the day of diagnosis to the day that we walked into Sephora were the darkest probably of my adult life. You can still rebirth yourself, and you can still really find your meaning and your truth and your passion even in your darkest day. So this is meant to really be aspirational. I couldn't let this day go beyond without sharing my experience. And beyond just the ear, there was so much more to what has happened in the last year that I would love to share more about. That's the story of December 5th, 2022, and my sudden sensorineural hearing loss, which I don't even think I told you was the official diagnosis.
How do you feel? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just feel like it's okay to remember that like ugly time and to be really, really grateful that I kept going. I didn't think I was gonna cry.
What do you think that means?
Shedding.